What are the universal laws which govern everything in the universe? Yes, there are universal laws that govern everyone and everything in the universe. Everything is energy. Everything. Everything is energy. And that is all there is to it. Match the frequency of the reality you want, and you cannot but get that reality. It can be no other way. This is not philosophy, this is physics. Those are the words by Albert Einstein. The 13 universal laws are thought to be intrinsic, unchanging laws of the universe that ancient cultures have always intuitively known. Look up at the stars and not down at your feet. Try to make sense of what you see and wonder about what makes the universe exist. Be curious. I believe the universe is governed by the laws of science. The laws may have been decreed by God, but God does not intervene to break these laws. The universal laws are thought to be intrinsic, unchanging laws of our universe that ancient cultures have always intuitively known. The first one is the law of divine oneness. The first and most foundational law of the universe is the law of divine oneness, which highlights the interconnectedness of all things. It says that beyond our senses, every thought, action, and event is some way connected to anything and everything else. Kaiser notes this one can come off a bit heavy and heady by applying it in real life. It entails being compassionate with others. We are all created from the divine source. We are all part of the same. She recommends working this law by asking questions like, how can I show more compassion and acceptance towards those I don't understand? Or what will love do? The second law is the law of polarity. According to the law, everything is in continuum and has an opposite. Where there is black, there is white. Where there is darkness, there is light. Where there is good, there is bad, and henceforth. Therefore, we can change our flow of thoughts or frequencies easily. If we are on a negative train, we can instantly change over to positive. The law of polarity validates that this is a universe of duality. Everything exists in twos. Every soul has a dual, the opposite. However, are never absolute. There is no set point of where it stands and it starts and ends, and that is what marks the polarity of the law. That law states that in fact these opposites and simply different manifestations of the same thing. According to Napoleon Hill, author of the classic Think and Grow Rich, and I quote, every adversity, every failure, and every heartache carries with it the seed of an equivalent or a greater benefit. According to the Colion, an ancient book published in around 1808 by a group of unidentified initiates, say everything is dual, everything has poles, everything has its pair of opposites. Like and unlike are the same. Opposites are identical in nature but different in degree. Extremes meet. All truths are but half-truths. All paradoxes may be reconciled. The third law is the law of vibration. Yes, imagine. All things start in your life with your imagining them, either consciously or not. Imagination is everything. It is the preview of life's coming attraction. Those words were said by Albert Einstein. So if you want to bring anything to your life, imagine that it's already there and maintain the best thoughts about it consistently. everything in the universe has frequency and a vibration. Wilder says, nothing ever stands still, as everything is always either being pushed away or pulled towards something. But furthermore, items of similar vibration are attached to each other. So, to use this law to manifest your desires, you must match your vibration with that of what you want. The conscious generates ideas and impresses these ideas on the subconscious. The subconscious receives ideas and gives them an expression to them. The fourth law, the law of correspondence. The premise behind the law of correspondence is that our lives are created by the subconscious patterns we repeat every single day, and these patterns either serve us or hold us back. Wilder says, activate this law by becoming aware of your own patterns, which are often passed down via family ties, and then consciously acting steps to break them. This law is casually related to the law of universal oneness. Patterns repeat themselves throughout the universe, and the prominent patterns repeat themselves on smaller patterns. The key is to recognize these patterns in our own lives so that we can act either towards continuing with the positive patterns or changing the patterns that no longer serve us. Law number 5. This is the popular one, the law of attraction. The original version of this idea came from Walter Wattles in the book The Science of Getting Rich, written in 1910. Once again, our faith or belief is what powers our intentions. What we think and feel deep inside of ourselves is reflected in our own physical world. I'm sure you have heard that what we think is what we become. What we believe is what we become. Believe you have an abundant life, and so shall it be. No matter how many times you say, I have an abundant life, if you do not believe it in the deepest recess of your soul, it will not present itself in yourself physically. The law of attraction is one of the biggest mysteries for those who do not believe it. But for those who do, it is the most powerful laws in the universe. It can bring a lot of fun and joy, and of course success. If you are ready for it, what is it? In a few words, you attract to your experience all that you think, either negatively or positively. Law number 6, the law of inspired action. The law of action is what is required to manifest our thoughts and desires. In The Secret, it is what the author refers as the inspired action. Inspired action because the need to act on something will not feel like a force at all and will be more of an intuitive doing. The law further states that you must do the things and perform the actions necessary to achieve what you are setting out to do. Unless you take actions which are in harmony with your thoughts and dreams and proceed in an orderly fashion towards what you want to accomplish, there will be no foreseeable results. It is said that this is where most people falter when it comes to applying the laws of the universe in our lives. Acting our thoughts and words is almost always the most difficult thing to do. Thinking about something and talking about it is different from following through with it. But this also happens to be one of the most important laws of the universe in order to manifest the life we intend to live. Action sets into motion our thoughts and desires. Everything from creating a to-do list to taking up an offer on instinct corresponds to an action that will in turn set your intentions into motion. In short, we must act towards making our dreams come true. They are not just going to magically arrive on our doorstep without some effort on our part. We must take the first step, and then the universe acts in accordance with our actions. We take a step and the universe responds. This is dancing like the two steps with the universe. We stand still and the universe stands still with us. Through inspired action, we make our dreams a reality. Law number 7, the law of perpetual transmutation of energy. This law means that even the smallest action can have a profound effect. Like the seed of a mighty tree holds all its promise in its tiny shell, you also have the power within you to move mountains, to put the law into action on a practical level. Wilder recommends doing small things every day that uplifts you, whether that is singing in the shower, dancing like nobody's watching, or anything else. Remember, small shifts equal major results. Number 8, the law of correspondence. The premise behind the law of correspondence is that our lives are created by the subconscious patterns we repeat every single day, and these patterns either serve us or hold us back. Activate this law by becoming aware of your own patterns, which are often passed down via family ties, and then consciously acting steps to break them. This law states that patterns repeat throughout the universe, and on a personal level, our reality is a mirror of what is happening inside us at that moment. The principle of correspondence expresses the idea that there is always a correspondence between the laws of phenomenon of the various planes of being and the life. This principle states that there is a harmony which can be made, agreement and correspondence between these planes, delineated as the great physical plane. Law number 9, law of cause and effect. The law of cause and effect, also known as the law of karma, states that any action causes a reaction. Whatever you put out, good or bad, you get right back. To harness the power of this law, be aware of how your actions and decisions are affecting not just yourself, but everyone around you, and focus on sending out good vibes only. Every action has an equal and opposite reaction. That is primarily what the law of cause and effect is all about. Ralph Waldo Emerson even went to the length of calling the law of cause and effect the law of laws. And that is probably because this is the law that equals what we know to be karma. Every thought, action, or word by you is a cause, and every reaction, feeling, or assumption that is created through that cause is the effect. It is like a pendulum or a boomerang. It is like a bouncing ball. The harder you throw it, the higher it bounces back. The law of cause and effect states that every cause has an effect, and every effect becomes the cause of something else, suggesting that the universe is always in motion and progressed from a chain of events. This law, in its most basic working model, is proof the world is round, and that the universe too is indeed in that state, in the same spherical shape where if you throw something, it will come back to you, full circle. As they say, what goes around comes around. The 10th law, the law of compensation. The law of compensation is about reaping what you sow. The law of compensation instills trust in us that we will be compensated for our work as long as we are open to receiving in all the many ways that the universe can deliver. Wilder says, to be clear, compensation in this sense is not limited to employment, arrangement, or financial compensation. Rather, it is about receiving compensation for all your contributions to the world around you, including the love, the joy, and the kindness you spread. It is all rewarded. Law number 11, the law of gender. The law of gender is in truth the creative law. This law decrees that everything in nature is both male and female. Both are required for life to exist. The law of gender manifests in the animal kingdom as sex. It also manifests in the mineral and vegetable kingdoms. Without the dual principle of male and female, in all things, there could not be a difference of potential, a perpetuation of motion, nor regeneration. All new things merely result in the changing of something that was into something else that now is, a caterpillar into a butterfly, a thought into physical reality. Consciousness or thought is the masculine energy, whereas the life force that brings to the thought in physical reality is the feminine energy. Together, one experiences both the masculine and the feminine energy, which is known as the creative process. The law of gender also decrees that all seeds, ideas, are spiritual seeds, have a gestation or incubation period before they manifest. In other words, when you choose a goal or build the image in your mind, a definite period must elapse before that image manifests in physical reality. For anything to grow, however, it requires energy. Plants require solar energy, for example. Our thoughts and ideas thrive on the energy we give them. In fact, there is one way to shorten the incubation period needed for an idea to manifest into physical form: through concentration. The concentration of thought relative to an idea increases more energy on that idea, bringing it more quickly into manifestation. The 12th law, the law of giving and receiving. The law of giving and receiving is a law that describes the constant flow and exchange as universal energy. It recognizes that the way you amplify or expand anything that you want is to give it to others. For many people, this idea seems counterintuitive. The energies of giving and receiving operate within all of us, and in order to create flow, they need to be in balance. To work with this law, it is to recognize where in your life the balance between giving and receiving is off. You have to allow both sides in you to have their last say, and get their way. The 13th law, the law of relativity. This is the most real of all the laws, and it ensures that the universal laws are not based on delusions of any kind. It is the law that gives us the reason for everything that we and everyone else is undergoing. It grounds us like no other law. The law of relativity states that each person will receive a series of problems for the purposes of strengthening the light within. Each of these lessons is to be viewed as a challenge and remain connected to our hearts when proceeding to solve the problems. The law teaches us that we should always compare our issues and grievances with others to give us perspective and reason for introspection. It shows that no matter how bad we might presume our scenario to be, there's always someone else who is having it worse than us. The law of relativity shows us that it all really is relative. It is a matter of perspective. Everything in our material world is made real only by relationships or in comparison with other things. So basically, nothing will ever exist until and unless we give meaning to it. In the spiritual realm, however, it becomes the opposite as we view things as is. In his book, New Earth, in essence, you are neither inferior nor superior to anyone. The true self-esteem and true humility arises out of the realization that in the eyes of the ego, self-esteem and humility are contradictory. In truth, they are one and the same. Understanding the exact meaning of this will enlighten you to the relevance of the law of relativity. Understanding the 13 universal laws is the secret code that makes life meaningful, impactful, and purposeful. Thank you. Signing off, Dr. Masase Kanikosa. Live in the law. Thank you.